Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum viewers. I'm your host SM Hali, presenting another edition of Defense and Diplomacy. The relationship between China and Pakistan transcends the tests of time. And our program today is dedicated to the landmarks which we achieved in the year 2013 when the friendship and the solidarity was further cemented. To discuss this particular topic as well as shed their valuable opinion, we are honored to have in the studio today Makhdoom Babar, who is the chief editor of the Pakistan Dailymail, which perhaps is the only Pakistani newspaper which carries one full page on China and has relationships with various leading Chinese media houses. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And of course, we have a familiar face, Professor Chu Rong, who is a Chinese analyst based in Pakistan, who has dedicated nearly a decade over here. More than a decade, okay.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, Babar, the relationship between China and Pakistan is based upon the 5 principles of coexistence. But the depth is even greater than that. Would you care to shed your opinion on the depth of the Pak-China relationship?
Well, I have always been saying that this relationship between Pakistan and China is not an ordinary relationship. It is sort of a philosophy. It is a love bond. This is not just friendship, but this is a relationship of love. And there is no other example on planet Earth that 2 nations are locked in such a bond anywhere else across the world. People to people love is one thing, the government to government relations is another thing. No matter whosoever is ruling in Pakistan, it is a People's Party government, it's a Muslim League government, it is Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, or it is General Ziaul Haq, or it is Pervez Musharraf or Nawaz Sharif. The official relations between Pakistan and China have always remained as warm as they always were, despite the fact that in different countries, different relations vary from government to government, from personalities to personalities. Similarly, in China, whosoever has been on the helm of affairs, the warmth towards Pakistan has always remained the same. And the people of 2 countries, the people of Pakistan and people of China, they on another, you can say, on the side road, they are also going with the same warmth with each other, and they have a similar feeling for each other, what you won't see in any other case. And that is the real force behind this Pakistan-China relationship, is the peoples of 2 countries.
Absolutely, and we saw a glimpse of that during the Beijing Olympics. When the Pakistani team entered the stadium, this was the only team for which the entire stadium, comprising nearly 1 million Chinese people, they stood up and gave a standing ovation, which is really rare, and it is heartwarming that it is actually what we call a people-to-people bond.
Yes.
So, Professor Chu, 2013 has been a year of a number of changes, both in China and in Pakistan.
Yes.
Mainly, the governments changed. But it is remarkable that within 40 days of the formation of a new government, both the Chinese leadership and the Pakistani leadership, they met each other. The Pakistani leadership visited China and vice versa. Would you care to comment?
Yes, Excellency. I think the important event is when Premier Nawaz Sharif came to power. When Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif came to power, when Premier Li Keqiang came to power, and they highlight the relationship. They do not only wanted to just chant the slogan, higher, deeper, sweeter, harder, and dearer than ice, or something like that. They like to just make some substantial achievement for Sino-Pakistan friendship. The first time I met Mirsad Nawaz Sharif was April 18th in his farm when he was not the prime minister. and we talked for 1 hour. The first topic he talked is economy. The second is also economy. Third is also economy. So he mentioned so many times about the corridor. Then it is Pakistan, France who just initiate this program and get the very positive response from Chinese Premier Li Keqiang when he visited Pakistan. He just have the common ideas with Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, and within 40 days, they exchange the visit. The difference between Nawaz Sharif and Premier Li Keqiang from the previous leaders, they always exchange some good remarks towards each other. They always, the leaders always exchange some good terms, good remarks towards each other, always just highlights, enhance friendship, mostly by words or by MOU. Did not have such great project which can benefit 3 billion population of this region and which may reshape the economic structure of this region and even globally. So for this time, both Mirzam Nawaz Sharif and Premier Li Keqiang has idea we, China and Pakistan, should change the world economic structure. And also, China, Pakistan not only need the slogans, but we also need a substantial outcome so which can benefit the people from each other and also benefit the whole world, the regional peace and prosperity. Thank you.
Absolutely. So what he has mentioned is very important, and we see a transformation of this relationship into the Pak-China economic corridor, which is a promise for the countries of both China and Pakistan to bring a prosperity. Would you like to talk about that?
Yes, but there's a lot of projects going on with the collaboration of China in Pakistan, and especially in the fields of energy, economy and defense. And this formation of a trade corridor, and it will be followed by, as Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif has said, a train link between China and Pakistan, a road link between China and Pakistan, and obviously Gwadar port project. These all combined. There are a lot of hydro power projects going on. So it makes that the Chinese help and assistance is playing a very vital role in Pakistan's economy. But I have a reservation here. I have always suggested that there needs to be a few things done with exception. One, I would suggest, I have always been writing about it, that Pakistan government should form a Ministry of China Affairs or a China Affairs division under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, so that the Chinese coming to Pakistan, the Chinese businessmen, the Chinese investors, they are coming to Pakistan, they should be made to have their things done hassle-free. There should be representative of CBR, FBR, whatever, Ministry of Interior, Ministry of Commerce, Ministry of Trade, under that ministry or division for China affairs, and to expedite the projects that are signed, that Ministry for China affairs should also be playing a role to expedite all the projects or all the MOUs that two governments sign. And at the same time, because so far we have signed a lot of MOUs with China, but many of them are just at the signing level. Nothing was initiated. Even JF-17 Thunder project remained for over a decade after being signed. No work was initiated on it. There are many other projects. If you go and check on the websites of different ministries of Pakistan, you will find a number of MOUs signed, but no follow-up work was initiated from Pakistan side.
No, it's a very important point. There should be a special division, or if not a ministry, because this is a very special relationship which will be a win-win situation for both China and Pakistan.
Yes, I quite agree to Mr. Barbara Maktung's idea. I have another idea. That is, as he said, there's a lot of friendly people like Maktung, like Your Excellency, Mr. Hali, and also some other senators, retired ambassadors. But the current association, I mean both China-Pakistan Friendship Association and the Pakistan-China Association could not hardly play strong role to enhance the friendship, because we should just change our perception. The old framework should be finished, should be updated. So right now, how can we just enhance, substantial development of people-to-people contacts? We needed a new, or at least update our framework of association from both sides. This is number one. Number two, as he said, you see, the Friendship Association is right now is only to enhance some old people's exchange visits, maybe retired ambassador, some senators, maybe some retired generals. That's not enough. This association should also have the linkage with Chinese universities, Chinese investors, and maybe Chinese public health, all the area. Make this association to be the assistant, also to be the advisor of the policy making towards China, to be assistant for the implementation of the government's idea in order to enhance the China-Pakistan friendship.
True. And one of the major achievements of 2013 was the handing over of the Gwadar port to the Chinese, which is going to be, although it was a little delayed, the Chinese constructed it, but for some reason the control was not handed over. But finally it was done in 2013, which is going to bring prosperity not only to Balochistan, but also to the rest of Pakistan as well as China.
Yes.
Yes, this Gwadar project, Gwadar Port project is very, very vital for the maritime sector of Pakistan, for the Pakistan industry, for the economy. Not only, as you mentioned, Pakistan, but Central Asia will be depending on it, because it has a very strategic location, strategically important location. And this Gwadar Port project and a few projects like that are, hitting hard the enemies of Pakistan and China friendship. They don't like such projects, and that is why we have seen in the past there were Chinese engineers targeted in the hub area, in Gwadar area, and there was a lot of conspiracies surfaced by the Western media and other media. Sometime it was mentioned that this is going to be turned into a naval base, Gwadar port. Sometime it was said Chinese military will be taking over.
A lot of disinformation.
A lot of disinformation was spreaded in this regard. But taking this opportunity, I would like to suggest that Chinese government should take some steps to, in some other manner also, they can help the Pakistani industry. Like as today, I was seeing in the news that there is a power shutdown in Faisalabad. The Faisalabad is the hub of Pakistan's textile industry, and textile industry is hub of Pakistan's economy. So I was just thinking that why not the Chinese government should chip in. If they have to contribute to Pakistan's economy, they should not come up with a project for the whole Pakistan in a shorter span. Okay, they can come up in a bigger plan also, but immediately they can chip in with saying that, okay, we are helping you by producing electric power for this industrial sector in Faisalabad. They should come and we are giving you short-term electric supply arrangements through some means for your industries in Karachi area, so that industry should work. In the longer run, they can come up with the projects for power supply to entire Pakistan. There are many areas where they can come in with a short-term planning and where they can help the economy grow rapidly, and the masses at large, that they can be helped as part of the team.
Yes.
Would you like to add something to the efficacy and the importance of the Gwadar port?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yes, I quite agree to Barbara's idea. Let's say one thing. Suppose there's a dinner in front of us, and there's a lot of dishes. We have to eat one by one, and one spoon after another. We cannot eat all within 1 minute.
And that is true for Chinese dinners,
That is
in which there are more than 30 or
more than
40 dishes.
Dishes, 40 courses, yes, maybe more than maybe 100. So let's say this way, on the regard of Gavada, China tried to avoid the mistake Singaporean made before. And the Chinese ambassador, as I was told, at least 20 times went to the Pakistan's ministry concerned, discussing about that. There's 2 points. Number one is from China. Chinese government's departments concerned should have the same enthusiasm as a Chinese ambassador, Excellency Sun Weidong. That is, that they should also have the same idea, not only same initiative, but also they should have the determination to implement their plan. First, to make a plan well, elaborate the plan well. Second, to do something substantial action to implement plan. This is number one. Second, from our French side, if you really wanted to have the corridor successful, we should streamline some procedure, make Chinese people to feel easy to explore Gavada, rather than to feel more obstacles in front of that. Those 2 sides are more important. It's not time to give the warning to our Chinese friends or Pakistani friends. We should not just repeat the bad lesson from Singapore. It is a time to do what's next, or actually what's the next spoon we should eat from this dinner. This is very important. I also would like to take this opportunity to thank for Pakistani government and Pakistani people. And when China is in difficulty, especially Japanese Prime Minister Abe visits Yasukuni.
Yes.
Yasukuni.
Yasukuni, the shrine in which
the shrine
in which more than 14
war criminals, especially some generals or something like that. See, so for Pakistani government also say, do not like any kind of things to sabotage,
the Pakistani
or to
foreign
harm
professor, the Pakistani Foreign Office has already commented that this kind of visit hurts the sentiments of the people and should be avoided.
And should not just harm the peace and prosperity of this region, should not harm the balance of the region, and should not just enhance the hatred between each other, something like that. So for China, you see, we are very devoted friends. You know, that is the history had proved that. We really just, from this, you see, Chinese people highlights Pakistan friends' help during the when China feel difficulties, you see. So at the same time, of course, as Barbara used to talk to me a long time ago, that is Pakistani people and the government also highlights China's, in time, on time help. Okay.
Absolutely. And while he's talking about that, it's also prudent to mention that in Balochistan in 2013, there was a very massive earthquake. The first international support undoubtedly came from China.
Yes, this is very interesting to notice that China has not only been helping Pakistan with regard to Balochistan when it comes to some earthquake, but China has also been standing united with Pakistan when the separatism hits Balochistan, because Pakistan, China are together at against terrorism, against separatism, and against extremism. Pakistan has always been supporting one China policy, and Pakistan has always been supporting China against extremism, separatism, and terrorism, and so has China been doing. And last year, when there was a seminar at some UN level in Geneva, some fugitives from Pakistan, they tried to address that UN forum regarding separation of Balochistan from Pakistan, and it was only China that protested against this move and asked the UN authorities not to allow those persons who were talking against Pakistan. I think second country that supported Pakistan was Cuba, whereas the US and UK and other friends of Pakistan, they were actually supporting those separatists to speak on that forum. So China in that direction has also been standing with Pakistan, and not only this Balochistan earthquake, if you recall, whenever there are floods, whenever there are major calamities.
Basically, I was focusing on 2013, but you're right, at every calamity, at every trial and tribulation, the Chinese have stood beside us, have been the first to reach us. And actually, the same is true on the other
And the
foot.
most interesting thing is that the Chinese, they do not do it for, you know, photo sessions or to tell the world. They react like a family member. I have seen many countries who just remain busy in issuing press releases, this much aid we have supported, this much aid we have given to Pakistan, this much pledge. But Chinese, they come silently, they work just like a family member. They just send their teams silently, and then they pursue. And when everything is sorted out, then they make some statement that this has been done.
Absolutely.
And there are a lot of breakthrough for this year, for last year, I'm saying. Number one is Confucius Chinese Language College established not only in Islamabad, but also in Karachi. And also Chinese premier for the first visit, first group of the countries who visit is Pakistan. And of course, the immediate exchange of the two prime ministers is only China and Pakistan. This is a second breakthrough. The third breakthrough is we have some other so-called Chashima, that is in Karachi or some others. And Kamara, I think you know that. So all the cooperation between China and Pakistan are progressing day by day. And let me tell you this, our ambassador, Sun Weidong, you see, he's very busy, fully occupied, meeting one Pakistan leader after another, meeting one Pakistan-friendly figure after another. More frequent, I think sometimes, you see, even we have the 52,000 visas, just
52,000
Pakistani people
were issued visas to visit China only last year.
Only last year.
Yes.
So that we can say that there's a 20% increase. For that is what I'm saying is that is Chinese government are encouraging Pakistani people to understand, to make investment, to do more business in China, to understand China better. Absolutely. And to visit China better.
If you hold that thought, viewers, we are discussing the landmarks achieved during 2013 between Pakistan and China's bilateral relations, which touched new heights. We are going for a short break. Stay tuned. We'll just be back. Welcome back, viewers. We are talking about Pak-China friendship and a special emphasis on the landmarks achieved in 2013. Makhtoom Babar, amongst the various achievements last year, one of them was in the field of defense. And a very glaring example of this was the rollout ceremony of the joint venture between China and Pakistan of the 50th JF-17 Thunder and the launch of the Batch 2. Would you like to talk about that?
Yes, in the field of defense, China has been helping Pakistan a lot, and there are a lot of joint ventures in all the three areas like Army, Navy, Air Force, and the joint exercises by Pakistan Navy and Chinese Navy, PLA, the joint exercises by Pakistan Air Force and Chinese Air Force, and joint exercises by Pakistan Army, and even
and especially counter-terrorism
exercises. Yes, even the that's what I was mentioning about the drills, counter-terrorism drills. I think recently they had one in Xinjiang. These are the factors that prove that both countries are paying a lot of attention towards strengthening the defense in the region for a lasting peace and harmony without having any hegemonic design. Both countries are having extraordinary coordination in the defense field. China has been helping out Pakistan in, with the provision of equipment used for defense purposes. Pakistan's biggest market for defense purchases has been China, though we have been purchasing from different countries.
One very important thing which our viewers should know is that China is the only country in its defense procurement programs with Pakistan insists on transfer of technology, which no other country does.
Exactly. And transfer of technology, and then the joint ventures, you know, joint production like JF-17 Thunder and a few
the frigates, the tanks,
yes,
you name it.
These joint ventures automatically make the transfer of technology as well, and China has never hesitated in this regard. They have always welcomed Pakistani engineers to China to get technology, and they have always been doing, transferring the technology straight away to Pakistan. And that too with a lot of, you know, economic support and economic constraints keeping in mind. You can say with a 50% discount.
May I just?
Please, please.
I think China respects Pakistan highly and deeply. Take one thing, for example. China noticed some other country tried to import some sophisticated weaponry from the West, of course from different countries. China also noticed one thing, some of the Western partners, I don't want to mention the names, try to use exporting weaponry to blackmail Pakistan, to give some precondition. You should do this, you should do that, you see. So China is proud that China can help Pakistan when Pakistan needs some special help. China is very proud when Pakistan faces blackmail, China is always available. So that is why, as Barbara just said, you see, there's a training, there's technology transferring, and a lot of things which we have some family members, very intimate cooperation between each other. And I would like to highlight one point. That is to say, during 2011, when Pakistan was criticized by some Western countries because of Osama's issues, you see, China did not just get any discussion with Pakistan, just initiate their opinion. That is to say, that we convey that is Pakistan should not be denied as the most important counter-terrorist country. So this time, so China also just hope that Pakistan understand China's position on Japanese Prime Minister's Abe's visit of some tomb of the criminal, war criminal. So I think we understand one, China never asked any other country to do the same thing. Pakistan rarely asks any other countries to do the similar things. So, but between we two, we can depend on each other. We are able to depend on each other. We not only have the mutual trust, but the mutual confidence. Yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely. And talking about, you see, the incident of 2nd May 2011, when the US naval SEALs came and took away, or rather first eliminated Osama bin Laden, Pakistan was under tremendous pressure.
Yes.
And it was not only being criticized, it was being threatened with dire consequences. The only country that stood by us and without our requesting not only gave a very, very categorical statement that Pakistan's sacrifices in the war of terror cannot be forgotten,
cannot
and
be
the world,
denied.
And
Yeah.
the world
Yeah.
must take cognizance of it, and instead of threatening Pakistan, it should sympathize with it. The people of Pakistan, the government of Pakistan were indebted to China for this timely stand. It was really brotherly. And this incident you mentioned about the Japanese Prime Minister visit, I know it hurts the sentiments because all those countries which were under Japanese occupation during the Second World War and suffered the brutalities, their sentiments have been hurt by this particular visit because this shrine houses these war criminals. And I hope it is avoided.
35 million population sacrificed during the war, and 600 billion US dollar we lost during that war. So that's why Abe's visit deeply hurt Chinese people's feeling.
Especially, you see, one expects from matured nations to be cognizant of the sentimentalities and sensitivities of other nations, and I fully sympathize with you.
Before we cut down here, I would just like to tell Professor Cho that you should be very happy that Pakistan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs has said something solid on this Japanese premier's visit, because our Foreign Office did not say anything when we had a similar situation in Bangladesh when they hanged a person for supporting Pakistan back in 1971, but we couldn't say anything over that. But in your case, we have said so. China should be very satisfied with Pakistan Foreign Office response in this regard.
Yeah, so I'm expecting your article to be published very soon on this issue.
Oh, yes, yes. Yeah.
And my article is appearing tomorrow.
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
yes, sure.
but coming to the field of education, both of you had hinted upon it, but I would like to have some concrete opinion from you. China is sending 2,000 instructors to Pakistan for not only the imparting the Chinese language courses, but also in other fields. So in the field of education, I think we need to enhance our cooperation still further.
I have mentioned it before, like I went to National University of Modern Languages to learn Chinese language in 2005. And I was told that I am only the third applicant, and at least a class of 10 would commence. But today I am seeing that the Chinese language department at National University of Modern Languages, to the capacity, it's full. So it is good sign.
And there are some institutions in Pakistan which have made the learning of Chinese language compulsory.
Yes, the government has also, the Punjab government has also issued instruction that Chinese,
the
government
Sindh
has also issued instruction.
For implementation.
And but again, we have been saying that many things remain at the MOU level or the photo session level. We have to see what is going to be. But I'm telling you that when I went to deliver a lecture at University of Communication in Beijing, Urdu department, and similarly at the University of Peking Urdu department, I have seen a lot of enthusiastic young Chinese boys and girls very keen and interested in learning Urdu, and they were speaking very good Urdu, though they were in the middle of their courses. So language is the first barrier. First of all, the Pakistanis and the Chinese, and I must say it becomes more onus of Pakistanis to learn Chinese, given the margin of the population. We should not ask more than 1 billion people to learn Urdu, but it would be very easy for a few million people to learn Chinese. So we should focus more on learning Chinese rather than teaching Urdu to Chinese. And once we cross, at the same time, many Chinese universities are offering very good educational courses in medicine, in engineering, in aviation, in many fields, in English language, and the education is very good at quality and very low at cost. So a lot of Pakistani youngsters are already studying in different universities across China. But again, I would say the more language at the junior level will start learning, it will become more easy for our new generation to get more education from China with the good quality and with very little amount to spend.
I'd like to just do one addition. You see, yes, there's a lot of Chinese and Pakistani young students to each other's country to learn the languages and some other majors. But the problem is each embassy does not have an education section. So that make this work a little bit weak. Yes. Because officially, since we need, it's because a special country, need every department, not only Pakistan Foreign Office and the Chinese Foreign Affairs Ministry to think it's important, but need all the government ministry concerned to think it important. Right now I'm saying is the Foreign Affairs Ministry and the Foreign Office in Pakistan, they highlight the important. What about the other ministries of each country concerned? I'm not sure. So that is if we have the educational section, even press section from each other's embassy, things will be very different. Not just ask a cultural counselor to be on behalf of the education section. No, that's not.
Yes, and you've touched a very important point. You see,
yes.
Media is the window to, portray the depth of relationships. And if the media is not given adequate attention, both in China and in Pakistan,
yes.
I think we will be, lacking the correct information. So there is a need for the media to interact and a need for have full-fledged press counselors or press attaches in both embassies.
And also, we become friends at least 8 years, maybe 9 years ago. And we have interaction. Whenever we meet, we feel friendly and intimate. But the problem is, as ambassador said, do you know Mr. Zhou? I asked some journalists. They may know only by face. I was on TV introduced by you, by some other, host, you see. Many, many times they did not know me. I went to the news briefing of the foreign affairs, you see. So they did not just say, I think there's one thing why I like him much, because he's the only one who does not borrow the information on China from the West media to Pakistan. He just used the Chinese page to do the positive report. So this is why we need Barbara McTong. We need more. We need at least 100 to enhance the friendship. Of course, Excellency Harley, you have done a lot of things. But one person, one individual person's capacity is limited. How can we just extend their arms, extend their ability? This is a problem. This is not only with three, when we talk, everything can be done. But the government should just have an idea. Not only you do. You should have more arms. You should have more legs.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. But a very important thing, and especially something which the Chinese have professed for a long time and tried to teach us also, that trade relations are more important, even with your neighbors with whom you have hostile relations. Because when you have trade relations, they are going to cement the relations and put the problems either on the back burner or force them to be resolved. This is what we notice between China and India, and China has professed this with all its neighbors, and this is a lesson which we should take. Your thoughts, sir?
Before replying to this question, I would like to add something about the media cooperation that you have mentioned. I, not only as the editor-in-chief of the Dailymail, I have not only signed agreements of professional exchange with the 4 top Chinese media organizations, People's Daily, China Daily, Beijing Review, and Xinhua News. But we have also established a Pak-China Media Friendship Association, for which we have journalists from Pakistan and China on this platform. We have more than 120 journalists from China on it, and say around 60 to 70 Pakistani journalists for it. And the purpose is this, that we should use joint platforms to watch each other's interest, because Western media, whenever they say something against Pakistan or against China, they do it unanimously. They form a unity and they launch motivated media campaigns. So to counter those motivated media campaigns, we need to have a strategy on our side. And second purpose was that every information available to Chinese about Pakistan and every information available to Pakistanis about China is normally available through Western media, through BBC, through CNN, through Google.
So if you permit, I'm running a little short of time, so if you could address my question on trade before I close the program with
Okay.
him.
Trade, it's good. Pakistan, China, trade volume needs to be enhanced. It is, I think, still it is only 20-25% of the actual potential.
It reached 10.5 billion in 2013.
But if you compare it with India-China trade volume, it is
nearly 100 billion.
But I would like to say that China is number 2 on the regard of trade with Pakistan. I mean, from Pakistan perspective, China will be number 1 very soon. Think one thing. The second, we should see the very positive trend. More and more Pakistani investors and the Pakistan traders like to do the business and investment in China, and vice versa. And we can see this year more and more individual Chinese entrepreneurs like to come Pakistan. First, the investment, do investment. Second, do some more trade. So I think everything's positive, especially machinery, importing, especially machinery exporting to China, and some importing from Pakistan tower, which is the first class, shoes and furnitures, and even some of the fruits, which are very important to China. So, but I think let's make a Karakoram highway into the trade way, not only strategic one, but also the trade one. Yeah.
Viewers, with that we come to the end of this discussion, and it has been very interesting with this exchange of ideas with two persons who know China as well as Pakistan so well, and so they were able to comment on the various aspects of Pak-China friendship, which is actually like a rainbow. It has so many colors, it has so many facets, but it is high time that we have been talking about the friendship between China and Pakistan being higher than the Himalayas and deeper than the Indian Ocean and sweeter than honey, that we actually transcend the talk and start